So it finally happened. After 2 years of masking, hand sanitizing, avoiding, doing everything I could, I finally caught Corona. Now, did I think that this time would eventually come? Yes. But would I be lying if I said I didn't feel a little special I hadn't caught it up to this point? Also yes. So I spent the last week or so sequestered in my apartment, working, sleeping, eating, and most importantly, watching movies. I watched a total of 10 new movies over the course of that week, movies I had never seen before. And today I thought, well, why don't I just talk about them? So I'm going to run through all 10 movies I watched while I had COVID. So let's just jump into it. So the first movie I decided to watch was Roma. Now, is this just me trying to get through my Criterion stack of movies I hadn't seen? Yes, and you're going to see a theme of that throughout this video. But I started with Roma because I was extremely intrigued. The film from the 2019 Oscars that probably should have won Best Picture, that ended up going to Green Book, but we're not here to talk about that. The first thing that is evident is the performances. The performances here are spectacular. There is no doubt about that at all. You even had one of the performances get up for Best Supporting Actress. Now, it didn't win, but it was very, very deserving. I think the direction is one of the things that is most stunning here. Obviously, Alfonso Cuarón went on to win the Oscar for this movie, and it's rightfully so because it's a very delicate, I don't want to say hangout movie, but that's kind of what it is. And watching this family dynamic as it grows and changes along with our main character who is a servant for this family, I think that that's a very interesting lens to kind of look at it from. I thought it was very well done. But the last thing I really have to say about this is, one, I think the score is fantastic, but two, this is some of the most beautiful cinematography and shot composition I've ever seen. I mean, this film was really damn good, and I implore you, if you've not seen Roma, catch up and go watch it. I gave it a 91 out of 100, and it's one of the best I saw this past week. The next one I watched was Deep Cover, and I was very interested about this one. I love cop movies, undercover movies, people trying to take down an organization from the inside, and this one was pretty damn good. Again, the performances I really enjoyed here. I think Lawrence Fishburne in this role is fantastic. I really enjoy the writing. I think that the story is very thrilling. It's very intriguing all the way down to the very end. And I have to give a shout out to Jeff Goldblum, who, while he is playing, his kind of stereotypical self in this movie, he kind of isn't though. And he was very intriguing throughout, and I really enjoyed the performance and the turn that he brought in this project. I think the direction is fantastic. I really enjoyed the score again. It's going to be a theme you're going to see, is I really liked a lot of the scores of the movies I saw, and overall, it's just a really kick-ass story that I had a really great time with. Gave it an 85 out of 100. It was another good one. Then we're going to move on to two films from Terrence Malick, and the first one is The Thin Red Line. This is a long movie. This is a long movie, clocking in at almost 3 hours long, but from start to finish, I was intrigued, I was enthralled, and I was I was in it with these soldiers. And I think that that's what Malick does so well here, is he creates a really beautiful, kind of brilliant environment, I think is the better way to put it, because you feel like you are on the battlefield with these soldiers through the use of sound, production design, and editing, and all of that. The technical here is a 15 out of 15. It is absolutely stellar. The score, phenomenal. A beautifully shot movie. It's got all the emotion that you could want, and the performances are 15 out of 15. I think they are all absolutely stellar. I think this is a fantastic war movie. Did it go on a little too long? Yes, probably, but in the end, I really was intrigued and enthralled by how excellent this movie was. I give it a 91 out of 100. again, one of the better ones I saw throughout the week. Then we move on to another Terrence Malick movie, The Tree of Life. I had heard mixed things about this movie. Some people say it's a masterpiece, some people absolutely hate it. I didn't know what to think going in, because I didn't really know what it was about. I read the synopsis on Letterboxd, didn't really give you much. I still don't know what this movie is. I don't. I saw it a few days ago. I'm still thinking about it. I have no idea what this movie is. And that's not a bad thing. You know, in the end, when you see with my score, I didn't rate it bad because Malick is so good at the technical and the filmmaking process. Score, again, is great. Not as good as The Thin Red Line, but it's really good. It's shot incredibly. It is a beautiful movie, just like The Thin Red Line. Technical, again, I gave a 14 out of 15. Malick knows how to make a movie. There's no doubt. The writing and substance sometimes might get a little far off, and I think that happens in this movie. But, and this is a big old but, Brad Pitt and Jessica Chastain, absolutely incredible. 84 out of 100. I did it. I watched Avatar. So I think I had watched it a long time ago when I was a kid, had no recollection or any memory of it. So I counted it as a first-time watch because I did not remember anything about it. And hey, you gotta give credit where credit's due. I mean, what James Cameron creates here, the world, the mythos, everything about it is it's Star Wars level. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's so unique, it's so creative, it's unlike anything we have seen before. But on the other hand, the writing meanders. It's a very long movie. I don't love all the performances. In the end, I think that this is a good movie. I think it is a solid movie. And I didn't see it in a theater, so maybe I would have been swayed and thought differently about it if I had seen it in a theater. That just didn't happen to be the case. But technical is still a 15 out of 15. I think the visual effects alone are incredible. I think the pacing overall is actually not too bad. There's some good emotion, and the story is not bad. It's rather generic, talking about, you know, humans colonizing yet another territory or another world. But there is enough here in just kind of the shock and awe factor that really makes you respect what is on screen. So I give it an 84 out of 100, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Then we watched a new release, Persuasion, which I did a review of on my second channel, which you should go check out if you have not already. This is an extremely cookie-cutter story. It's very cookie-cutter. It is the classic romance movie. It's what you come to expect when you think of romance. And I would also say another downside is I don't love all of the performances. But Dakota Johnson is absolutely lovely in this film. She might have been a little miscast, but she takes what she has in front of her and she uses it to her best. She really, really is good. I think the score actually is excellent. Like I've said, scores throughout this video are so good. And I'm like the one person in the world that actually enjoyed the breaking of the fourth wall shtick. I actually really liked it. It worked. It broke it up. That was the one thing that was unique about it that wasn't like a generic cookie-cutter romance. Like, that was the spice and the flair that we needed. Now, this had the ability to be great. It really did. This could have been one of my favorite movies of the year. But that story, extremely cookie-cutter. The performances, I didn't love them. And in the end, I wasn't really that entertained either. Like, there was some entertainment factor to it, but I was kind of just looking at my watch like, hey, when is this going to end? In the end, I give it a 78 out of 100. I still think very fairly of it, but it could have been great. Then we have Blowout, back to the Criterion stack. This was something, is what I'll say. I really enjoy the thriller aspects. I think the uniqueness of kind of the sound involved is very interesting. I think John Travolta gives a relatively good performance. I wouldn't say it's anything mind-blowing, but it is overall pretty good. And the story, I knocked it a few points, but I thought it was actually pretty intriguing and very interesting in the end. Other performances, I couldn't really ever get attached to. I'm really not that emotional in the end. I just didn't really feel for the characters. But in the end, I think it was a relatively solid movie. I think they did some unique things in the thriller genre, but they didn't really push the needle that far in really any way. So I gave it an 80 out of 100. It's pretty good. Then we have Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. This is an interesting one because I really like a lot of the ideas. I think that the use of like kind of the way of the samurai and breaking up the story with passages from this book was really interesting. I think Forrest Whitaker here is the actual star. Like, he's really good, but it gets kind of tropey. It gets kind of generic when it comes to story. Oh, a guy in the mob wronged us. We need to whack him. And then the guy's like, all right, I'm going to kill them all. Now, it was fun. I think there's some really awesome action sequences. I think there's a very creative kill shot with a sink. If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. But in the end, I do enjoy it. I think it is a little generic on the writing side. I don't love all the performances, but I think Forrest Whitaker is great. And I really enjoyed kind of the different kind of take on the mafia kind of assassin hitman. I really liked that. I enjoyed that. 81 out of 100, pretty good. Put it on your list if you haven't seen it. Then we watched The Untouchables. I had a good time. I really did. I think the performances here are the strong suit. I think Kevin Costner is really great. Really like Robert De Niro as Al Capone. He's not in it that much, and he kind of gives a generic mafia kind of crime kind of performance, but it was fine. It was good. I think the performances overall really are a great time. The entertainment, I had a good time with this movie. I think the writing here is really awesome. It's the thriller genre once again, and it's done so well. I love how they're not afraid to kill people off. That's all I'm going to say without spoiling it. I love how they are not afraid to do that, and that is what makes a very compelling story because the stakes are high. I think if they let everyone live and it was all happy and hunky-dory, the stakes wouldn't have been as good. But I really like this one. I think the technical overall is good. Ryan De Palma directs a really nice film here. Kind of more of an underrated one, I think. One that we don't really think about when we think about Ryan De Palma. But this is a hidden treasure of his. You guys go check this one out. 85 out of 100, and I really, really enjoyed it. And to round things out, I had to watch another new release this week, just to kind of get it off my plate. Watch the Bob's Burgers movie. So I've seen Bob's Burgers. I think it's a fun show, like a regular animated movie, and that's kind of what this movie is it's fine, it's average. I think the animation's done well. I mean, that's what you'd come to expect. And I did enjoy some of the bits throughout the story, but it really did feel like just a few episodes crammed together, And they twisted it into being a musical, which I didn't love, so that was kind of a choice. But in the end, I don't really have a lot to say about it. It was just fine. I think the Simpsons movie is a great comparison here, and the Simpsons movie is really good because it feels like a movie. It feels like it has a full-on story that you can follow with stakes that you really are attached to, where this is just like a few episodes crammed together, and then it happens to be a musical. I don't know. I didn't love it. 73 out of 100. It was okay. So that's what I watched while I had COVID. Let me know down below in the comments what you thought of any of the movies I talked about today. And COVID, interesting experience, but I'm glad to be over it now. But guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, let me know in the comments what you thought of any of the movies I saw down below. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next video.